Welcome back to this very special edition of Mompreneurs, The Real Deal, where Dr. Christi was just talking to us about hormonal health and the importance of hormones while you're a mompreneur, or pretty much always. So the other area of her expertise is intimate wellness. So Dr. Christi, talk to us about orgasms and how important they are for mompreneurs.
Okay, I would love to. One of my favorite topics. Well, orgasm is something that is definitely underutilized in mompreneurs. There's a big orgasm gap between men and women. It is not typically prioritized with women. And we're trying to change that. We're trying to normalize it as something that women should be pursuing and should enjoy. We don't want to idolize it, of course, but we want to be able to enjoy the fullness of our sexual well-being. And we are created as sexual beings, and that part of our life can really fuel our soul. I mean, when you have that intimate connection with someone and you experience that just incredible pleasure and ecstasy with someone, it just motivates you and fuels you every day. It makes life, it's kind of like the zest of life, the spice of life, you know, it's amazing. And women are created with a clitoris, which has over 15,000 nerve endings in it. It has more nerve endings than the penis. And it is designed, simply the only function of it is for pleasure. That's it. And men don't even have that. So we have an organ there simply for pleasure. And what a lot of people don't know, and there's the myth that's propagated in movies and television, is that you can have sex and just have an orgasm like that. But most women do need clitoral stimulation. And so we have different therapies to help make the clitoris more sensitive and more responsive. And that really makes a big difference to help women to have orgasms more easily and more enjoyable, deeper orgasms that they can experience. We also have a therapy that tones up the muscles of the pelvic floor. So those muscles will contract and you feel it more there. So I think intimate wellness is a part of ourself and our life that shouldn't be neglected. I think it should be nurtured and encouraged. And when you're with that person that you have that deep intimacy with, there's just nothing better in the world. And so that's what I want to help people do, is to really enjoy that, and then that just helps fuel you to your just best potential.
And so I just want to reiterate, ladies, listen up. No more faking it until you make it. This is about really getting raw and real about your sexual health. Because if you're not in a position where you enjoy intimate relationships with your significant other, your spouse, this is an opportunity to reach out to Dr. Christi or somebody like Dr. Christi so you can actually take control of this aspect of life. And I'm going to just talk about sex because let's get real. We're moms, or in my case, a Gigi, we're spouses, we're homemakers, and we're running a business. Mm-hmm. We don't have time to get intimate. We're trying to sleep. We're like, all I want to do is sleep. So how do we put the fun back in sexy time? Because scheduling it isn't sexy.
It's not, but sometimes it's important at certain phases in life where you can't just have the spontaneity, and you have to schedule it, you have to prioritize it. And yes, it often goes to the very end of our to-do list. When we've got little kids, we're busy with our career, it goes to the bottom of the to-do list. But we need to really make it a priority because it's good for our relationship, which is ultimately good for our kids. It's going to help our career too, because we're going to have more energy for that. We're going to feel more connected with our partner and connected to ourself, which is really important. If you're not connected to that part of yourself, you're not fully integrated. You're not fully being who you're designed to be. So yeah, it's not fun to schedule it, but it's really, really important. And if you're struggling in that area, then I do want to encourage the viewers to please go talk to a urologist, a gynecologist that specializes in that. There's a society, there's a lot more resources for women right now, a lot more studies and doctors that are interested in this. We actually have some things that we can offer to help women now. We didn't have that 15 years ago. But there's a society called it's called ISWISH, International Society for Women's Sexual Health. And you can go on there and find physicians like myself near you who are specializing, interested in that field. You can find nurse practitioners that are interested in that and all kinds of allied health professionals that can help with that. And it is true, if you don't use it, you lose it. I see women that have not had sex for 10, 15 years and it's very difficult. Things don't work right. They're tight, they're dry, it's very uncomfortable. So it's very important to maintain that.
Okay, so I have a question. Because you said there's a lot of studies now, I'm very curious, very outside of my area of expertise. So I'm wondering if there's a study that shows what are the percentages of women that are having orgasms weekly? Like, how low is is the orgasm percentage for women, or is the difference, I guess, between men and women?
Oh yeah, there is a huge gap. Men will have an orgasm about 90% of the time, and women it'll be about 20%. So it's a huge gap, and it's something that and we have medical treatments, we have great things that can help with that, and just talking about it, normalizing it helps a lot. But obviously there's a lot involved in that. There's relational issues, psychological issues, childhood issues. There's a lot of things that go into that. And so it's a kind of something that sometimes women need to really take time to explore. What is really the issue here that's going on? And sometimes they need to talk to a counselor, a sex therapist, and that can be extremely, extremely useful to be able to bridge that gap. And also, the other part of that is the man, the man understanding that and understanding, having enough communication to talk about how your body's responding, what feels good to you, and a man that's willing to provide what you need and to be a part of that process.
And so I'm going to immediately go to, we as women are not very good about reaching out to others for support because we're piling everything else, and maybe we're on the back burner, or maybe we fell off the stove altogether and we're on the floor, just trying to survive. So as we talk about sexual health and well-being and how important it is for us to have those endorphins so we can continue to do all the things that we do in life, how do we open that conversation with other women and other things so that we normalize talking about intimacy? Because for the longest time, and still today, sex is kind of a taboo topic in a lot of households.
Yeah, oh, that is so true. And everybody has their own different comfort level about what they feel comfortable talking about. So I don't know if I would just go up to someone and start talking about it right away. You kind of enter into the conversation very, gently. If you want to talk to your friends about it. We do live in, that's one good thing about the internet, is that we have a lot of resources online, a lot of groups where you can go online and talk to people and learn things. You have to be a little bit careful about what you're learning and take some advice with a grain of salt, but there's a lot of support online, a lot of support groups where you can kind of talk about or read about what other people are experiencing if you want to talk about what you're experiencing. But I do encourage people to talk to a certified sex therapist, and there's more and more of those around. They're very easy to talk to, and they make you feel comfortable. They're not weird. They don't get into weird stuff, unless you want to get into weird stuff. But they really make you feel at ease and can help you unpack what's going on and help you figure out what you need.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think that it is definitely an under-discussed topic. And again, it's an underutilized, I suppose, method of self-care. Is that what you would consider it?
to say fall under self-care?
Oh, yeah, I would say for sure. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the endorphins. I mean, that endorphin release, there's oxytocin, which is the connection hormone when you have sex with your spouse, and then the endorphins that are released with orgasm. Those are super powerful hormones. They help our brain function better. They clear our brain. They help calm our stress. You know, stress is such a huge factor for us mompreneurs. I mean, we're getting pulled in so many different directions. Sometimes we feel like we're never doing anything right or anything good enough, and never good enough to our own standards, right? You know, like we always have very high standards for ourselves. And so stress gets really, really high, and that's the super important part of self-care, is trying to minimize stress. And this sex and having orgasm is one way that really helps us to mitigate that and to relax and be able to just enjoy our life.
That's fantastic. And on that note, ladies, we're going to go talk about how we're going to up our orgasm and our stress relief in life over the next few messages. And we'll be right back after these messages.